One of the big disappointments for Star Wars The Last Jedi was, of course, the death of Supreme Leader Snoke, and a lot of fans were beginning to really get attached to that character and wanted to learn more about him, and we're all wondering as to exactly how he will be involved in Star Wars Episode 9. This is Mike Zero here. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, as you all know, Episode 9, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, different aspects of it, such as all the different set designs, the set leaks, the concept art and storyboard descriptions, etc. Now, a lot of people have been wondering about both characters, Luke Skywalker and Supreme Leader Snoke. Now, we do know that Andy Serkis canceled his appearance at Keystone Comic-Con, which could very well be a huge hint that he is to return as Snoke in Star Wars Episode 9, since everything on his IMDb page is all completed except for something else that he's doing in secret, and we're not quite sure what it is. But anyways, I digress. What's very interesting is these past couple of months, we've been hearing about Snoke on and off and his involvement in Star Wars Episode 9, ranging from some of the concept art descriptions to the storyboard descriptions, one of which specifically has all to do with Luke in front of his burning Jedi temple. There are bodies all over the field. This seems to be a continuation of what we saw in Episode 8. Luke is looking for survivors and goes inside of the Jedi Temple ruins. Eventually, Luke sees a vision of a sinister figure that appears to be Snoke. Luke is looking at a fire and begins to see an illusion of Snoke communicating with him. The next goes over Luke pointing his finger at Snoke in anger. It appears Snoke gave Luke a warning of sorts or a message to him, to Luke, and appears to be angry. They could be in a force bond similar to Rey and Kylo. Luke ignites his green lightsaber as Snoke smiles in the vision and vanishes before Skywalker. So this is very interesting for sure. I want to go over a couple of pointers here, especially the last part with his green lightsaber. Now, does this indicate that Luke actually had it all along on Ahch-To? Now, if you guys read up on The Last Jedi novelization toward the very end of the book, it does hint that his Jedi weapon is stored on the planet Ahch-To in one of the huts. Now, in one of the huts, the caretakers, they actually take care a lot of the Jedi relics that past Jedi Masters have actually left behind on the island. And Luke's Jedi weapon was the newest addition. It doesn't say lightsaber, but it does say Jedi weapon, and that's raising a lot of questions. If Luke had his saber on Ahch-To all along, and if it is there, will Rey go ahead and grab it? Now, the other thing that I do want to go over is exactly why is Snoke reaching out to Luke Skywalker? I don't think that this is in Luke's mind. I don't think that this is I guess you could say, hallucination. I think that this is 100% a Force Bond sequence, very similar to what we saw in The Last Jedi between both Kylo and Luke. If Snoke is able to basically fuse the minds of two other characters, for surely he can do it with himself and another person. So Snoke appearing in front of Luke Skywalker also lines directly up with what we saw, or heard I should say, very lightly in The Last Jedi, that apparently both Luke and Snoke crossed paths. In The Last Jedi novelization, I must add. In the novelization, it lightly implies that Luke and Snoke actually met in a mental state, and that could very well be this exact moment that will be portrayed on the big screen if it does make it to the final cut of the movie and gets past the storyboard stage. Now, to me, I think it's a great scene. I think that they should definitely continue that scene of Luke's burning Jedi temple and all the dead bodies on the ground, all the different new generation of Jedi that died fighting Kylo Ren single-handedly, and they failed. So, looking at everything here between Snoke and Luke, we do know that there is some form of rivalry, and we do know that Luke knows Snoke. He talked about Snoke to Rey in the first Jedi Temple on Ahch-To. He was talking about him. How Snoke had already turned his heart, and both Leia and Han Solo know him too. And I think that there's a connection there for sure. So, could he actually have been threatening Leia to Luke Skywalker, letting him know that Leia's next? Maybe he was threatening his sister, and that's why Luke got very angry. It could have been that, or maybe Luke is just angry at the fact that Snoke was able to turn his nephew Ben Solo and destroy his new generation of Jedi and burn down his sacred Jedi temple on the unknown planet. So, the character of Luke Skywalker, what I find so interesting about him still, even though I totally disagree with how he was portrayed in The Last Jedi, there's still so much mystery. I can't say this enough, there's still so much mystery after the events of Return of the Jedi that Disney and Lucasfilm just haven't been exploring too much, not even in the comics. I think all post-Return of the Jedi stuff needs to be explored, and stuff that's right before the events of The Force Awakens. Now, luckily, Star Wars Bloodline, it does touch on little aspects of Luke here and there, like Leia explains how, she didn't want to become a Jedi, and all these different things, and people questioning her, why didn't you become a Jedi like your brother? All these little different pieces of dialogue in novels, I feel, are so much better than what we have gotten in some of the movies. But that's just my opinion. Anyways, guys, I would love to hear your input below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.